Well, I went live, Ryan. I forgot to do the fucking countdown. So,
Well,
hi everyone.
that's
Now we get
this
to
is called a Monday.
fucking hell. Here we go. God. Now the proper intro. I don't know how much they saw. But
Probably
I did
not
go
much.
live.
Yeah.
I went live without hitting the intro, and I'm like, well, hell, I went live without the intro. And then I was like, fuck it, I'll just hit the intro now. Anyway, welcome to Geeks and Gamers Daily, the single most important show in the history of the internet, and there is no discussion to be had. We only accept praise, super chats, memberships, and an occasional troll to help us create a new meme. How are you doing, Ryan?
Doing great. I love Mondays. This is the most important, most culturally relevant stream in our lifetime. So I'm just glad everyone's out here supporting.
Oh man, we're getting ready for a hurricane to come hit here in this area. So that'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. Not sure.
I ain't getting too hyped up. That last one that everybody thought was just going to be the fucking end of days was not shit.
That is
So
true.
I
It all
ain't
just
too
depends.
fucking worried.
It really does depend on where it makes landfall. But it has intensified, or at least it's forecast to intensify now. It was reportedly only going to be like a category 1 at landfall now because it was stagnant for a few days. Now that it's going to get over the warm water, it could go up to a category 3. I've seen this play out 1,000 times here in Florida. It could either turn out to be a massive problem or a complete nothing. You never know how these things play out. So we're just going to have to see. It may impact Tuesday night's main event. I'm not sure. I don't think it will. I don't think it will be I don't think it will be inland at that point in time, but we will see.
I'm going to go, maybe, hopefully they'll leave like Universal open. I'll go to Universal during a hurricane or something.
Go ride
There you
Hagrid.
go. Yeah, sure. Why not? There's a park hopping idea, Jay.
Yeah, there we go. I'm down with that. I haven't ridden Hagrid in forever because it's not part of the fast pass or whatever. So you have to actually stand in line for it.
You have to wait in line like a fucking poor person.
Yeah, it's terrible, awful. But we'll see how that plays out. But it should be fine. And of course, tonight, and the link is already made, I do have my stream with Salty Cracker joining Cobra Cast. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a good discussion. So I'm sure the mods will be able to drop links to that as the show goes on. And we have Drew Hernandez on tomorrow, as long as the show happens. Drew will be on Tuesday night's main event. So I'm looking forward to that. How was your weekend, Ryan? Full of positivity?
I was traveling a decent amount over the past couple days. So it's kind of been a whirlwind. Just barely got home in time to do a stream yesterday. Then did another stream yesterday, and then I slept for a while. So yeah, my weekends are always full of like great energy. I think I think my policy throughout most always is fuck everyone but myself. That's gonna be extra hard. The last 4 months of 2023 is just gonna be fuck everyone. That's gonna be the RK Outpost anthem. So we're gonna start that here, like coming into September. It's going to be a good push the last 4 months of the year.
I like it. Yeah, this first time you've ever had that attitude.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
Usually I'm all about, helping others and positivity and things like that. So it'll be a little bit of change from the norm.
I'm pissed off because I wanted to go see Gran Turismo. So I bought tickets. Now, it was sold out everywhere.
National Cinema Day, that bullshit, yeah.
It was sold out every fucking where. So I found some tickets at a local cinema I've never been to. I drove all the way there. Without going into too much detail, let's just say it wasn't a very favorable clientele. It was bad, dude. It was fucking chaos, and I'm like, I am not going to enjoy this movie because everybody, like, you could tell it was gonna be a lot
It's
of
like going to a Chuck E. Cheese off Martin Luther King Boulevard.
man.
Yeah.
I just got my refund. I was like, I'll watch it another time. I'll watch it another time. So it was, man, there was a bunch of fucking like children out there, teenagers. It was crazy.
So
It was chaos.
So yesterday, the National Cinema Day, which discounted tickets, and I'll be real, I would rather pay 4 to 5 times as much money to go to a movie theater and have, like, not as many people there
Yeah.
as to pay $4 and go to a theater that's crammed with fucking losers. All right, that's how I feel about it. So
Yeah.
I was not gonna do National Theater Day, but
Yeah.
it did definitely
eh,
help some of these movies out there. Doing that, and I'm sure it helped the theaters too. Get a lot of people in there for a cheap ticket, and then they spend $50 on popcorn and drinks and all that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, trust me, there were I will say this, there were all races out there. It was definitely not I'm the old man at this point in time, man. It's like a bunch of children with their parents there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of fucking children out there. Edgelord teenagers, and I'm like, I want nothing to do with this shit, dude. I'm done. You could tell it's gonna be a bunch of fucking idiots on their iPhones, running their mouths, laughing, throwing
You
food.
got a refund for your $4 ticket.
Yeah, it's fucking bullshit. So I do
Yeah,
want to see
yeah.
Gran Turismo. I've heard nothing but good things about Gran Turismo. And what have I been saying? I've been saying video game, movies, and television taking over. Look at all the stuff we've seen. And what is up with the trailers for video game content? Like uh Twisted Metal looked like shit. Again, I've only seen the first 3 episodes, but I've loved the first 3 episodes. Twisted Metal's trailers were terrible. Gran Turismo trailers were not good. It did not interest me at all. Shout out to Yellow Flash. I know he saw Gran Turismo and he loved it. Um, and even the Mario, I mean, we know most of the trailers were decent, but it was we know about the whole thing with Girl Boss Peach, even though some people still thought there was Girl Boss Peach after they saw it. What's up with the marketing for these video game movies and TV shows? Kind of strange right now.
I
But
didn't think Gran Turismo looked bad. It just looked like it looked like it had nothing to do with like it just looked like a racing movie.
mhm,
I mean,
yeah,
I never thought any of the trailers looked bad or anything. Um, Twisted Metal, I'm still not really interested in Twisted Metal, even with people saying it's good.
it's
Chris
good.
Gore told me like a month ago he saw an early screening of Gran Turismo and he said you got to watch it. It's good. So I'll probably try to see it at some point in the next couple days for sure. Um, Wash the bad
Yeah,
taste of Blue Beetle out of my mouth.
yeah. I will definitely go see Gran Turismo this week. And I'm looking forward to it. So, video game movies continuing to take over, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But we got a few things to talk about. Let's read a few super chats. First, though, Coali for $10 scanning in my 199 cultural importance badge. Thank you. That is a very important badge. And I'm glad that you recognize how important it is. Ryan, with your knowledge of the EU, what is your take on Darth Revan and where he ranks as a Sith Lord? Knights of the Old Republic is my favorite game, so I rank him high.
As a Sith Lord, I mean, Revan's really powerful. As it's tough to judge him as a Sith Lord because he really wasn't a Sith Lord for very long. To be honest with you, like that's not a huge part of like his entire scope of things. Um, but I mean, obviously, one of the more powerful Force users that we know of, and we've actually seen feats from him as opposed to others we've just heard about. So, I mean, he would be pretty high in terms of like power levels. But for like Sith lords, he was really not a Sith for that long, and we know that a little bit of that was also controlled by Emperor Vitiate and everything. So, I don't know if I'd be like, oh, just one of the most pure evil Sith out there. I don't know. I like Revan though, and I like the way I like the book too, which is kind of a divisive subject for some EU fans.
Tara Crystal says Ahsoka, no Jason Harris son, girl boss can't be mom.
Yeah, there was no mention of Jason Sindula, which, I mean, I'm happy. Like, that'd be one retcon I'd be okay if Dave Filoni decided to just kill him off as if he never existed. Another fucking, like, they even spelled it like Jason Solo. So yeah, fuck that kid.
We've been celebrating Jay's birthday since 199. There we go. Picasso says, scan my pronoun 199. Did you hear about Cosmic Book News having editor's notes saying Jeremy from the Quartering can't use their articles? I haven't heard that. Have you heard about this? I wouldn't surprise.
Saying Quartering can or can't. So Matt McGloin runs Cosmic Book News. I know he's like
Can. Was it
specifically.
can or you can? Does it say can? Did they mean can or can't?
I don't know.
I'm imagining them it can, but why would Cosmic Book News say that?
Well, no, they've had some like spats back and forth about some stuff that I've seen.
Mhm.
I think that I think Quartering called him like something like just a BS clickbait news site or some shit, and then Matt McGloin wrote something about some Quartering that he thought it got wrong or whatever. They've had a little back and forth, but you're putting it out there online. People can use whatever the fuck they want.
Mhm.
So I don't know exactly all the details about that. There's some things that come from Comic Book News that I like. There's some things that I think are shit, right? So I use some of it. I won't use other stuff. That's just how it is.
Yellow Flash. I would put Gran Turismo right up there with Ford versus Ferrari. Also, happy birthday, Drunk 3P. Oh my god, it went on for like a month, dude. That is high praise, Flash, because as most people know that have heard me on this show, Ford versus Ferrari is one of my favorite movies of the last probably 5-10 years, man. Ford versus Ferrari is fantastic. An excellent, excellent movie. So if Gran Turismo is on that level, that is mega praise, mega praise. Cole Hauser, yo, Jeremy and Ryan, love you, bros. In a non-gay way, great start to my Monday morning with you two brothers. My Rigas 199 Yojo Transformers G1 baby. Hell yes, Cole Hauser. Appreciate you, bro. George says, orange is the new black and it's beautiful. Riggers with Trump 2024, even though I live in Puerto Rico. Love you guys and your content. Hail Geeks and Gamers 199. Thank you. And the Sundowners Club becomes a new member. Ryan, what is our first topic of the day?
Well, shout out Sundowners. Let's see. I guess we can talk about
Ellie Reen dropped 10 gifted memberships with that badass profile picture of Trump. It looks like some anime edit. I'm not sure. Hey, can I start something in the chat real quick? Can I start a fight in the chat?
Sure. Okay.
I watched an anime this weekend. I watched Dragon Ball Superhero. And I liked it a lot.
Never
I
heard
don't know.
about it.
I don't know if that's good, but I liked it. I know nothing about Dragon Ball, generally speaking, but I liked it. So we'll see. We'll see if the chat now destroys me. I liked it. I thought it was fucking good. I thought the animation was phenomenal. It took me about 20, 30 minutes to kind of really, that's about 20 minutes, And I was like, okay, I'm starting to kind of grasp this. But really, once it really got rolling, yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. So it's good stuff.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ever gonna watch that or any Dragon Ball anything.
What was it that Gohan did? Did he go like Beast Saiyan or something like that? Like, is that what it was called? I thought it was good. I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it. So there you go, chat. Have fun with that one.
Couldn't tell you. Dragon Ball Super Kai, is that a thing?
Fuck if I know. I think I watched some Dragon Ball Kai. Krista had me watch Dragon Ball Kai, I think. I think it's Kai.
I don't know. All those fucks look like they're inbred. Like they all look like they're all fucking related to each other. I guess they're supposed to be Asian, so I don't know. But
man.
But we got to talk about Blue Beetle. After they had one of the worst openings in DC box office history and then blamed it on the weather, DC was hoping to have a big recovery for this weekend. And there's some sites that are trying to spin this second weekend for Blue Beetle as some sort of massive positive. But in all reality, it's just more confirmation that Blue Beetle is about to be $100 million loss for Warner Brothers. Blue Beetle scores solid second weekend at the box office thanks to National Cinema Day. And as we were talking about earlier, Jeremy, with these like super cheap tickets, a lot of people saw big boosts this weekend. When you look at Barbie, when you look at Oppenheimer, when you look at virtually everything out there, had bigger weekends than people expected because of all the big discounts for National Cinema Day and people flocking to the box office. But when you look at the weekend's numbers, here you go. Gran Turismo just barely edged out Barbie, and then Blue Beetle down there at third with about a 50% drop. And there's a couple ways to look at this, right? Is that it had one of the best holds in DC history after having a miserable opening weekend, or it's one of the worst second weekends in DC box office history. But regardless, exhibitor relations, this is kind of the appropriate way to look at it. That 49% hold for Blue Beetle would look good for a superhero flick as long as it opened big and wasn't in a marketplace where no other film in the top 5 dropped more than 29%. Ouch again. And it's true. Look at the holds from these things. Oppenheimer, 16%, Barbie, 19, MI7, 24, Meg 2, 25, Ninja Turtles, 29. Yet Blue Beetle drops about 50%. Mm-hmm. All of these were boosted big time by the National Cinema Day stuff. But unfortunately, they can't escape the reality that this is estimated to bring in somewhere between $140, $160 million worldwide because the international numbers are pathetically low, which would mean, once again, you have another $100 million flop, $100 million loss for a DC movie.
Yeah, this is a complete and total disaster, and there's no way to spin it, especially after you see all of those holds from films. Like, what has Barbie and Oppenheimer been out now? 4 or 5 weeks, 6 weeks now? What is it?
This is the 6th weekend, I think, for Barbie.
6th week.
6th weekend for Oppenheimer, right? Like 16% drop. Even like you have to go down to Strays in the top 10, which also came out last week, which fell 44%, not as much as Blue Beetle. But like, look at these very, very solid holds because of the incentives to go to the theater this weekend. So that probably changed Blue Beetle from a 60% drop to a 50% drop, somewhere around there. But that number, that's not going to get it done. No. The international number this weekend was $10 million for around 81 total, like worldwide cum right now. And that is just, it's not enough to make any money.
Well, I recall my good friend Zack Snyder tweeting out that representation matters when he was trying to promote Blue Beetle before it came out. And clearly the audience doesn't agree with you, Zach. Clearly the masses don't agree that representation doesn't matter. In fact, you know what does matter? Good movies. Representation is irrelevant. Good movies does matter, and people are sick and tired of this nonsense. So according to what I've heard, I mean, Blue Beetle's actually a would you classify it as a woke movie?
Yeah, I would.
And so there you go.
Yeah, I think that there is this narrative throughout the entire thing of brown people are oppressed by rich white people. Like that, it's inescapable. It's throughout the entire movie. I don't know if it's enough to like. It's not like it's some great movie that's really ruined by that. It's a very mediocre, bland, stupid fucking movie that wasn't very good. That is further damaged by the identity politics behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that this is just a more of the same we've seen, but this is different in a lot of ways too. More of the same for DC, but most DC movies are not woke. Most DC movies, they may have minor woke elements to them or something like that. But
yeah, you might not like a casting or a specific thing, but in terms of the overall like premise of it, there's not typically nearly as much messaging as there has been in recent Marvel movies. I agree with that.
Absolutely. And so that's kind of interesting that now you've got a woke DC movie And that's kind of taking the worst of both worlds. DC on the decline, not over identity politics necessarily, just out of a convoluted mess and no real vision. And you've seen diminishing returns. And now they've added a woke element to it while they're at their lowest. And you see the result. The result is the worst film they've ever had released in the DCEU. So it makes perfect sense from that standpoint. When you're already in decline and then you add wokeness to it, you get Blue Beetle. That's what you get. And yeah, I mean, this is a glaring kind of like just confirmation of everything we've been saying. The fact that they had all these incentives and every fucking film in the top 5, most even in the top 10, had small drops. Films with 6 weeks into a run that have shattered records with 15 and 19% drops, and this one's a 49, a complete and total disaster. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of cope out there when it comes to this. I've seen a lot of people, like, simply because it's about Hispanic culture, that are trying to promote it, they're trying to boost it, they're desperately trying to convince people that it's not a failure somehow. This is a movie that had a reported $120 million production budget. That's changed a little bit. Now people, well, it was actually only $104 million. Okay, I don't know if I believe that, but if we want to take the most conservative estimate, all right. And then you have to add on another 50 or 75 million at a minimum for marketing. People are trying to act like, oh, they didn't spend anything on marketing. It's the same shit they said for Shazam 2. These fucking people that try to make these excuses. That's the same thing they said for Shazam 2. Guess what they spent on marketing for that? $100 million. But let's take the most conservative fucking estimates possible and say somewhere between $50 and $75 million for marketing. That's still a movie that needs to hit over $300 million just to break even. And if you sit there, end up with, $150 million worldwide, you're only going to get back about 75 million of that. Like, this is a pathetic failure. It has no hope for success. It's a flop. They decided to specifically pander to a very small group of people and basically say, if you're not down with that, you just don't understand it. It's not made for you. Well, okay. Large majority of people didn't feel like it was made for them, didn't feel like it was marketed towards them. In fact, felt like they didn't need to go fucking see this movie at all, and that they wouldn't connect to this movie. People have stayed away.
And they have, and I, for one, am enjoying that. Dan Vask in the chat says, Hail 199, my IQ is 199. Look at Dan Vask. He was complaining he's not a mod. You are a fucking mod, Dan.
I think you missed a decimal point in there somewhere, Dan.
Shout out to Dan Vask. Oh man. But yes, so that's where we are with it. Blue Beetle is a complete and total disaster, and I'm okay with that. Tomat for 20. If we are going to have more video game movies, do you think we will get a remake of Sweet Home? If you didn't know, that game is inspired by Resident Evil. So I've heard of Sweet Home. I've not played it. But now in terms of I don't know how much the remakes are going to play into what movies they're like. The fact that we had a Gran Turismo movie was shocking to me. Just came out of nowhere. Twisted Metal is another one. Didn't really see that one coming. A lot of these that I wasn't really expecting, a lot of these properties, whereas there's properties that you would think they would jump all over. Like, again, I'll say that the one movie, the one gaming franchise that we have been asking for a movie for years would be Halo. They did make the TV show, and I believe based on the TV show, we are never going to get a Halo movie ever now because they screwed up the TV show so incredibly bad. I think a Half-Life 2 movie would be incredible. I think that there's so many. Gears of War would be another one that would be an incredible movie.
Excited for the Fallout series?
I didn't really play Fallout, so I don't know much about Fallout. What about you?
Well, it's going to be about a woman, so I'll obviously not be interested in it.
There you go.
But no, I mean, in theory, there's a lot you could do with the Fallout universe.
Yeah.
There's a lot you could do with it. And what streamer is that going to be on? I forget who they're working with.
Is this the Admiral? Is that the fan film that they made based on Half-Life 2? There was a fan film, and I can't remember if that was the title of it, but it was really good. It was fairly short. It's like 20 minutes. But is that what that one is? Okay, the Admiral. Yes, Escape from City 17 is fucking fantastic. It's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, Amazon's doing it. Amazon's doing the Fallout series. So seems like with Amazon, it all depends on who's running it. It's like you could either have something like Terminal List or Reacher, or you could have Rings of Power. Like it's very highly dependent on who they have running that shit.
Mm-hmm. Darius, you did not miss your super chat. I've not gotten to yours yet, buddy. I have not gotten to yours yet. So, where's Darius at? Well, I don't see you didn't send a super chat, Darius. No,
That explains it.
it explains it right there. Yeah, I don't see one from you, buddy. Tiger Town, don't forget Equalizer 3 comes out this weekend. Denzel Washington.
Is that this weekend? That'll be good. I'm looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm. Nicholas says, I got news for you, Jeremy. Is that over my Dragon Ball take? You know, I looked it up after I watched it because I've heard a lot of people like criticizing like Dragon Ball Superhero. And I looked it up, like Rotten Tomatoes, it's got like a 95% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. I was like, damn, I was expecting like a fucking 50 based on the fucking internet. Like, wow. So Han Solo was killed by the fall, not Kylo's lightsaber. That's why Han forgave him. It was the lack of handrails that killed Han. Man,
That's true.
This whole thing is this whole thing with Sabine getting stabbed has created such a firestorm. I'm just glad I'm not watching Ahsoka, man. I'm just glad.
It's like how many times can you do it in like a 1 year period, you know, and expect it to have any impact on anything? When you're going for this fake, the thing is, there are other things you can do rather than have her stabbed through the stomach to show that she's been defeated. People are like, oh, they could have, you know, taken her hand, or it's like, no, she could have just lost the fight. She could have just got fucking force pushed into some boxes while the people ran away. Like there's a million other narrative things you could do rather than have her get defeated like that. That she could still learn the same lessons from it, because there's no lasting ramifications from it. Just not everything needs to be oh my god, she's gonna die.
I'll just watch Gary's video because I've heard his video is phenomenal. I need to watch his Ahsoka video, but everybody's been talking about his Ahsoka video, so I'm looking for it. There he is. He's in the chat now.
His thumbnail is good.
So I'm gonna be checking that one out today because I've heard nothing but good things about it. Everybody seems to be pretty hyped about his video. Let's see. The Alien Nerd scanning in 199. Thank you. Hope everything goes okay with the hurricane, guys. Just wondering what your experiences with tornadoes growing up in Alabama and Indiana. I've been through a few tornadoes when I was growing up in Alabama. It wasn't terrible, but Florida, because of hurricanes, I've been through a shit ton in Florida, and I'm terrified of tornadoes. I'm scared to death of them because
they have tornado sirens around here.
I don't know if they have them here. They had them in Alabama. They did not have them in Panama City or Pensacola for me.
Yeah, so I went through a lot of tornadoes growing up. Like during the season, you're gonna have like you're probably gonna have a tornado watch like twice a week, like during the summer, it seems, in Indiana. But I really never had too many close calls, other than when I was very young. When we were at this campsite, we had to run and go to the clubhouse and hide in the closet because like twin tornadoes came down. I like have very small recollections of it, but twin tornadoes came down and like you could physically see them. And so everybody ran to the clubhouse at the campground and hid in there. Luckily, we didn't all die. But yeah, like tornadoes are significantly more scary than to me any other like weather event. Same. Because it just boom.
Yes.
It's there.
It's
like it can be just actually one time when I was still working at the golf course, we knew there was bad storms coming in and we had about like a 15-minute warning, and we were trying to get all the carts back in so they didn't take damage in the wind. Holy shit. And you could just see like the wind line of the storm as it was going across like a freshly plowed field. And it shifted from a normal day, probably about 80 degrees, really no wind. And in a minute, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, it was probably about 50 degrees with winds of like 50 miles an hour. and there was a funnel cloud that you could see just kind of spinning that wasn't coming down, just spinning in the fucking clouds above the golf course as we're desperately trying to get these golf carts back in. Luckily, it never came down and never touched down or anything, but that was pretty fucking scary.
Yeah, man. I about feel like it was about 4 years ago in Pensacola. No, it's probably about 4 or 5 years ago in Pensacola. We had it wasn't a hurricane, it was just bad thunderstorms and tornadoes had been spotted all in my area. It was really bad. And it got to the point where, me and my family had to get the whole crew, like dogs and everybody in the bathtub. Like I had everybody in the bathtub hunkered down. Literally, the house was shaking. The entire house was shaking. I thought it was over. I was like, this is it. It's over. It's done. Barely went over my house, but I would say 5 or 10 houses in my entire kind of development there were completely destroyed, completely just leveled. It was terrifying, man. It's scary though. But yeah, but we'll see what happens. Obviously, we have this hurricane here that's going to be making landfall over the next 24 to 48 hours. Where it makes landfall and how far inland the tropical storm force winds will be interesting. I'm getting alerts right now on my phone warning me about power outages and internet outages. Yeah. Welcome to G&G HQ. That's pretty much what we've been dealing with for the past 8 months, 7 months, whatever. Spectrum. So shout out. So we'll see what happens.
I hope it either misses us or I just fucking die instantly. I just don't want to go through this bullshit of everybody like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's going to be bad. Like, either fucking miss us or just kill me and fucking end it. Like, I'd rather have that than have to deal without internet for a day. I'd rather die than just be upset.
Oh, Ryan being a Ryan. Ryan,
So,
are you appreciating this as much as you should be? Because I'm not sure it's being fully understood. Oppenheimer is going to flirt with $1 billion worldwide.
yeah, I saw an update about that yesterday.
The fuck?
That's
You can and you people go, oh, inflation, whatever. There have been 2 movies this year that have made $1 billion, and they are both 2 of the most iconic characters of all time. The only other movie, Oppenheimer, is locked in for basically third for the year. A 3-hour rated R biopic is going to flirt with $1 billion. Holy shit. I cannot even comprehend that. After I saw the movie, I loved it. I felt normies would not like it. I felt normies were just going to be like, this is boring. It's too much dialogue. Yeah. Clearly, I was wrong. Clearly, I was wrong.
I don't feel like it's. I thought it was good, and I thought there was some really good. I just didn't. I don't see it as some like spectacular masterpiece or anything, And I don't think Barbie and Mario are either. But you understand why those movies are successful with the type of movie they made, who it was marketed for, and the movie that they put out. Like that makes sense. Oppenheimer does not to me. It does not. Other than just, I think we're in a landscape of entertainment where people are just sick of the very stock standard fucking franchise shit. And maybe just because it wasn't that, and it was something that took itself very seriously, people were able to go out there and they went out there and supported it because it was, and of course the Barbenheimer meme certainly helped it. I think probably it got helped more than Barbie did. But I think they both helped each other for sure.
Well, see, I obviously you can't deny that it helped spark interest, but to get to $1 billion, that is a strong word of mouth.
Yeah.
Like that is strong word of mouth. Like this is rare. And memes are one thing. Memes ain't gonna make a 3-hour rated R biopic get $1 billion. It just ain't gonna happen. So obviously, I think Nolan's probably the biggest star in Hollywood outside of Tom Cruise. I think he is. I've been saying that forever. In terms of just his name, and when he makes movies, he's guaranteed to make $500 million every time. That's just how powerful his name is. $1 billion is fucking crazy. It's guaranteed, I think, at this point to make 900 million. I guess China is kind of where it determines how big it is in China.
Bro, you know what if it was at $990 million and they secured a Japan release to get the extra that they needed? That's really where the story needs to go.
That's where it needs to go.
Like that's where when we need to get a campaign from the rest of the world to get an Oppenheimer release in Japan. I saw somebody Forbidden Ruin in the chat says Barbie reeks of box office fraud. No, it doesn't.
No,
like,
it
imagine thinking that Warner Brothers is just committing box office fraud with Barbie while their last 7 straight fucking DCU movies have just lost a fuck ton of money. Right? Imagine this is the one. We're gonna pretend this one made 1.3 billion, and then we're gonna pretend that Blue Beetle only made 140.
Oh man, but yeah, it's really is
for you doesn't mean it's not successful.
No, Barbie's it's 100%. There's you can feel it. Like the Barbie success is far more tangible than something like even like Captain Marvel was, and we know why Captain Marvel was successful because it was sandwiched in between 2 of the biggest movies of all time.
It also wasn't because of fraud.
So,
just for the record,
no, not at all. Anyway, with that said, Oppenheimer, fantastic. It really is crazy what's going on with that movie, and there's no other way to spin it. Nolan is a fucking rock star, and that's just the bottom line on it. Does Sound of Freedom go international this week?
It already did. It opened in Australia and New Zealand over the weekend. It's #1 in New Zealand, #2 in Australia behind Barbie. And I think it's going to open in the UK and a couple Latin American countries throughout the rest of this week. So, yeah. And
it's doing well.
And it's talking to different streamers, and it might get a pretty big streaming deal potentially, too.
Was that report that Netflix and Amazon turned it down true?
It was, well, I mean, it was true from months ago, like years ago.
Okay, right. But now, see, it was the way I saw it presented was that this is a recent thing, and I'm like, I don't think that that's the case.
No, I made a video about it today and pulled the quote. The quote is from the producer, who was saying, after we got the rights back from Disney, we went to all different studios. We went to Netflix, we went to Amazon, we went to all these different places and said, hey, this is for you. We really think it's important. We really want to get it out. And everybody said no. That's where the report is from. So according to the producer, Netflix and Amazon did say no, a year ago or whatever, when they tried to get them to put it out. But now I think that pretty much all streamers other than Disney Plus are kind of interested in getting it on their service.
Dan wants to know if it's opening in Brazil.
That's Latin America, right? So that's as far as I know about it.
So
we'll see.
Why don't you fucking use Google, Dan? Think about that, Dan.
Freedom, Brazil.
Did you do that, Dan? Why don't you send a super chat that makes me have to pay more money in, Dan?
Release date. September 21st. I think it releases in Brazil.
Aaron says use Google. Ryan's right there.
Yeah.
Oh man. Here we go.
Make sure. September 21st.
Is here Stephen Wasick for 20 streaming release of Sound of Freedom. Let's fucking go. I hope it gets a physical release too. I'll buy that day one. When I was on vacation, I saw a shirt that had God's Children Are Not for Sale on it, and I had to buy it. Yeah, man. Sound of Freedom is still the most important. Damn it, Dan. Sound of Freedom is one of the most important films in the last decade, man. No doubt about that. So 100%. Yellow Flash superhero haters wanted a Goku fight movie. That makes a lot more sense as to why they probably hated on it. I mean, again, I went into it just watching it and seeing it for what it was, and I found it to be very entertaining. And I like Piccolo. I like Gohan. Obviously, you have Vegeta and Goku training. And
Is Piccolo, that green dude?
Mm-hmm.
He seems gay.
Whoa. Unnecessary.
Why?
Ryan.
Why did you think that was an insult?
Piccolo's... your goddamn...
Obviously, I did use this as an insult. Why wouldn't I?
Nah, man. Piccolo's awesome. Piccolo's cool as hell. He's a lot like you.
I don't know. I've only seen him. I don't know anything about him.
Yeah.
Uh,
He's a lot like you. He's angry as fuck.
I wanted to point out that this is 20 cents. That this is actually 20 cents. And I don't even know why YouTube allows people to super chat this little. 1 Brazilian real is equivalent to 20 cents. And YouTube's going to take a 30% cut of that. So thank you for the 14 cents, Dan. And that's as long as you're using a computer. If you're using an app store that took an additional 30%, well, then we're looking at maybe we might see 10 cents out of this thing. So thank you, Dan, for your generous donation.
I will never forget seeing him like when he first started popping up, you know, he'd send these $100 super chats and it shows up red, which is bullshit, very misleading. I'm like, damn, Dan, Dan Bash just sent me $100. Dan, thank you. You know, I'm like, man, that's really, he doesn't have to do that. You know what I mean? That's really generous of him. And then to come to find out, he's like $3. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
Big spender. Big spender. All right, let's catch up with some more if I can find the fucking super chat screen. I don't know where I put it. Oh, here we go. Darius H, member for a month. Glad you like this, like superhero. It's good to see Gohan and Piccolo get some much needed attention. The new form is Gohan Beast or Beast Gohan.
That's pretty cool. I liked it.
The clear side over on Rumble says I have headache. Sorry about that. But
Sorry
thank you.
Queen by the way, I'll be live at 6:00 tonight. Me and Salty. The link is on D-Day Cobra. So you guys can go over there after this if you want to just hang out. It's gonna be a fun show tonight. I expect the 199 to show up in full force. It's gonna be a fun one. Go ahead, Ryan.
Queen Clarity for 5. I imagine the Latinos are sick of the pandering too. There's more to their culture than just white man bad. Yeah, you would think. I mean, listen, I've seen some people. I've seen some like real interesting shit from some people doing anything and everything they can to defend or protect or promote this movie simply because you have a Puerto Rican director who made a movie about a Mexican family. But it's interesting to see, but not surprising because identity, sometimes people just are. They really just do care about identity politics at all costs, even if they have channels where they might pretend otherwise. KCW for 199. Gary versus Dan, greater than Goku versus Frieza.
Yep.
Garfield's Bizarre Adventure for 5. Hey guys, who is the one girl boss to rule them all? Captain Marvel, Rey, Galadriel, or is there another? Also, Clone Wars Dark Horse comic greater than the show. The Clone Wars comics were fucking fantastic.
Rey is the ultimate girl boss. I mean, she's invincible. Dan says it's funny because when I send it to Brazilian channels, they think I'm a millionaire.
You're from a third world fucking country. Of course they do.
Oh man, yeah. I Rey's the ultimate girl boss. Like she is. She is the definition of a Mary Sue. She's been elevated into the biggest sci-fi franchise ever, nerd franchise ever, and single-handedly destroyed it. You know, and she's invincible and she knows everything. It's Rey.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably a pretty good argument. Galadriel is tough because it's not real Galadriel, right? We know who the real Galadriel is. This is a fake version of Galadriel. So it's kind of tough because there actually is a real version of Galadriel out there that's not like that. Anyway, Bill Sotheby, did you guys see that video of the tribal rangers plowing through the protester barricade and arresting all those terrorists? Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Hell yeah.
Neo Nimbus for 199. Dragon Ball Superhero was awesome. Is that real superhero?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Eric Stratton for $1. Thank you. Taker for 2 was 28 days later Cillian Murphy's acting debut.
I don't know if it was his I don't know if it was his debut, but it was one of the first ones that I saw him in. But yeah, I'm not sure if it was first or not.
Animating Andy for 5. Give Ryan a Coors Banquet. No tornado can mess with him, I assume. Yeah, I'll be fine. Dragon Dan for 5. Jeremy equals Goku. Ryan equals Vegeta. Piccolo equals Beardo. Jay equals Gohan Krillin. I don't know what any of that means. Atomic Patriot for 1. Thank you.
Ryan sounds so like uninterested when he reads Dragon Ball names.
Or any anime, anything. It's not made for me. There's a fucking billion people out there that it's made for. Not me.
I like anime, and I would like to get more into anime. I mean, I've seen my share of it, but I enjoyed Dragon Ball Superhero. Does it make you mad that it's called Dragon Ball Superhero?
It's just a dumb fucking name. It's like superhero, like superhero hero. That'd be the next iteration.
Oh man.
But anyway, we can talk about what's not very super for Disney, and that's likely their upcoming Snow White disaster. The Disney Snow White controversy has gone back long before Rachel Zegler opened her stupid mouth. From the moment she was cast, from the moment they said, we're looking to be more diverse and more progressive and represent all these young brown girls so they can see themselves in a princess. You know, it was going to get very interesting. It already has, well before this movie's been released. And in fact, we might have to wait longer before we see this movie in theaters, because with all these different controversies, from the dwarfs to it was made in 1937 and all of the Rachel Zegler clips, now we're hearing that this movie might be delayed, Jeremy. Rachel Zegler's Snow White movie gets disappointing release update, according to report. In all likelihood, Snow White is going to be delayed. Now, there's a couple reasons for this. One, because they still do need to do some reshoots, which is what we saw leaked from that set. Remember those pickup shots that Disney tried to lie about and say it wasn't really theirs? They still have some reshoots to do on the movie. We obviously have an actors and writers strike going on. But maybe more interestingly, Dune Part 2 just got moved to the week before Disney's race swap Snow White disaster is supposed to come out. That might be enough in and of itself to scare them out of that release date, to be honest with you, because this movie is basically dead on arrival half a year before we're even expected to see it.
Yeah, and do you think there's no chance this movie gets canceled? Correct?
No way.
This movie is setting up to be a colossal headache for them in more ways than one. And again, you look back, what did we ask about Blue Beetle or even Flash? We asked, is it better if they just cancel Flash outright? You know what I mean? I think they would have lost less money if they would have canceled Flash, right?
Yes. So if they had made the decision to not release it because of how much they spent marketing the movie and everything, if they would have just shelved it, they probably would have lost less money. Yes.
Yeah. And so I think that's kind of the situation that Disney's in with this, where, I mean, again, to think about them shelving this movie is kind of insane. But I think that it's the most realistic scenario for them if they just want to minimize their losses. She's a headache. She's a disaster. It's creating problem after problem after problem. She's gone mega viral. I think the more she talks, the worse it's going to get. And I guess that's the whole point. They want to keep that. They want to delay it. So maybe they can have the marketing, but why would you want the marketing? Because that means this idiot gets to talk more, which is only going to hurt the movie more.
So the problem is they can't do that. They can't cancel it. This is different than The Flash, is different than anything like that, because this is a Latina Snow White. You've gone out and bragged about representation and how important it is. This is the audience you've pandered to. You've wanted these pronoun freaks, these fucking woke lunatics. This is your audience. Imagine what happens if Disney cancels your very diverse Snow White remake, your very woke, progressive, and diverse Snow White remake. They would get fucking annihilated. It is probably worth it to them to fucking take the loss and not have to deal with the backlash from what is now the audience that they've wanted and asked for. It's impossible. They can't cancel it. They'd get destroyed if they did.
Yeah. You're right about that, but at the same time, man, I mean, I think that's their best method.
Well, that's their best financial method. I mean, the best financial method for a lot of these things would be taking a completely different route. Star Wars, Marvel, Indiana Jones, like all across, like every time they make these decisions, it seems like they make decisions not based on the financials and instead based on other things. At some point in time, that has to change. But I just don't, I don't think that this is a movie they can do it with. I think it's too high profile. They would get slammed for not supporting their young female brown superstar, right? That's the criticism that would come from that. And they don't want that kind of backlash.
They don't.
They're better with this backlash than they would be with that backlash.
That is true. You're right about that. You're right about that. And that just kind of shows you that, again, that's social justice in a nutshell right there, where we would rather pander to identity politics and blue-haired freaks than to just make a good business decision. That's social justice right there in a nutshell. I mean, we've seen it 1,000 times, and it's so amazing that how they don't care about certain backlash, but they're okay with other backlash. Like a classic example right now is in something that is more along the lines of our sports world, but I think this bleeds over. It's what ESPN is going on with ESPN and Sage Steele. You know what I mean? The fact that they're okay with a black female, a well-spoken, attractive black female going out there and basically talk about how corrupt they are. They are okay with that because she falls in line on the conservative side. But if she was a BLM protester and, anti-Trump and all of that, they would bend over backwards to keep her at the network just so she wouldn't go out there and give them bad PR. It's wild. It's crazy. I don't understand it.
Well, yeah. So what happened with Sage Steele was she made some remarks critical of the forced vaccine mandate at Disney.
Yes.
And they suspended her. They punished her. They removed her from all these things, and she sued Disney. She had a lawsuit. She eventually settled with Disney not that long ago, and now is departing the company. But because of her politics, they punished her.
Right.
That's what we saw in that case.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And I mean, like, if she had different politics, they would be propping her up as this hero, as this brave, stunning individual. But because she's not, even if she's a black female, they're fine with, like, they're just going to continue. Like, she's been through hell with them for years. You know what I mean? It's been forever and a day. And now she's speaking out about it, and they're okay with that. So again, it just opens up such an interesting dynamic of how they're okay with one minority female saying whatever, but they're not okay with another minority female for business decisions. It's social justice is the most ass backward thing on the planet. It really is.
Yeah, just look at what happened with the parental rights and education bill. You have a couple fucking of these activists that work at Disney that said, well, you can't not take a stance. What do you mean you're not going to take a stance? Disney marches right down there. Bob Chapek gets on his knees, swallows a rainbow-colored dildo, and fucking says, we support the gay community. Shame on you, Florida. Same thing would happen in this case if they tried to cancel this movie after all the preaching they've done.
Yep.
That's their fan base, and that's the majority of people who work at these levels now for Disney.
Hey, look at here, Ryan. All right. Let's see right here. There we go. Who are you?
Vegeta.
Oh, look at Ryan. He knows his Dragon Ball. Look at there.
The only reason I did is because the super chat said that.
All right. Well, never mind. I guess he doesn't know his Dragon Ball. I don't know my Dragon Ball either. So
I knew Piccolo was green. What's your first thought for 5, Jeremy? Now that you're a weeb, you're going to be playing Armored Core 6.
I think Armored Core 6 looks phenomenal. I would love. I was talking to Az was talking about playing it. I know he's been streaming it a lot, so I would like to try Armored Core 6 out. It looks really good.
Villa Idiot for 5. What's the most obscure niche game you've ever played?
I don't know. Obscure niche game. I'd have to think about that one. There was this game back in the day. I don't know if this game is something that's gotten a ton of traction or not. Or like back in the day, I don't think that no one knew what this game was back in the day, but this is how old I am. But on the NES, there was a game called Xenophobe. It was like an alien game, like you were had to kill aliens. I don't know if anybody has ever talked about Xenophobe on the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System.
I have no idea how to answer that question. I will say one game that I really loved that I didn't feel like it did get a sequel, but I felt like this one was overlooked in the grand scheme of things. Could have been so much cooler. It was True Crime. I think for the PS2. I think it got a sequel like True Crime Streets of LA or something. But I think that was the name of it. Let me see if I can find it. True Crime PS2. Let's see. True Crime New York City, True Crime Streets of LA. Streets of LA is the one I was thinking of. I
Does it
fucking love that movie or
does
love
any
that video.
does anybody remember this game right here for the NES? Look at that ass, by the way. Look at this. This game was so fun. I played the fuck out of this game. I play and when you hit something, you go flying. I used to play the living hell out of this game for hours and hours and hours.
I used to play a lot of computer games that were on like a floppy disk. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I wish I could remember the names of some of them. One, you're like going up this fucking mountain and there's a bunch of elves and shit. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Let's see if I can remember that game.
I wanna play this now. But that's good stuff right there. Good stuff.
That
And
looks
then,
terrible.
hey, you go fuck yourself. Hang on. Hang on. Let me see if I can find. There we go. The Xenophobe on the NES. This I don't remember. It wasn't a good game. This is Xenophobe. Uh, this game was not good. This game was not good. This game was not good. Oh man, but no one knew what this game was back in the day.
Oh, I forgot Christopher Walken did voiceover for True Crime. Oh my god, I forgot all about that. And I love that series. It was
And
basically like it was kind of like Grand Theft Auto, except you were a cop. I don't know, it was cool. I liked it.
here's another game that I played that I feel like. Hang on, see if I can. I feel like a lot of people like this one just didn't get a lot of traction, and I don't know if it was just me, or not. But do people remember a game called Maximo on the PlayStation? Here, right here. Do people remember this one? I have to imagine a lot of people remember this one, although I don't feel that this one, like, people didn't talk
Oh
about this
fuck.
one a lot. But I really enjoyed this game a lot.
That looks
Uh,
pretty good.
yeah, so I
That,
enjoyed this
that
one.
looks pretty fucking good.
Mhm. So that was pretty fun. It kinda reminded me of, like, Ghouls and Ghosts, Ghosts and Goblins, like an upgrade, like a like a next
Someone
level
says
of
it's
that,
a
so.
spinoff from Ghouls and
Oh, was it? Okay, then
Goblins.
that's why it reminded me of that. So, yeah, I enjoyed that one. And then there's another one. I'll mention one more, and then we'll move on from it. Wizards and Warriors. Does anyone remember Wizards and Warriors on the NES? Ryan, do you remember Wizards and Warriors?
I don't know.
Wizards and
It rings a
Warriors
bell, but I don't
was
know if I played it.
fucking awesome. Wizards and Warriors, right there, dude. This game was so good. I love this game, and the music was so good in this game. This game was awesome. So I was a big fan. Listen to the music real quick. Oh my god. I wanna play the fuck out of that game right now. That was a good game. Alright, moving on.
All right, Optimus Prune for 2 or Optimus Prime. Dragon Ball Super superhero in English terms. There you go. Hercules for 199. Assassination Classroom anime, maybe for Ryan. I've heard about that. KCW for 199. We've had huge windstorms in Shreveport all year. There you go. Lil Rash for 5. Jeremy, it's crazy you've never gotten into Fallout. I think you would become obsessed. Also, Tenet gets really good after the 14th viewing.
I've heard that from so many people. Like, Jeremy, just watch it on the 7th time. It starts to click for you. I'm at 2. And I don't hate the movie. I just think it's a bad movie. Like, it's just not a good movie. I think it's very interesting. I think it's got incredible concepts to it. The execution just isn't there.
The Wolf from Heart for 199. Xenophobe was an arcade game with 3 joysticks.
Yes. Yeah, it was an arcade game before it was on NES, if I'm not mistaken.
Ira Brownridge Jr. for 199 was more of a Rolling Thunder arcade game myself.
Look at Jed talking shit in the chat. Go ahead, Jed. Go ahead. Tell me. Go ahead.
Tenet, the biggest problems with Tenet are the sound mixing, and I prefer deeper characters, but the concepts actually do track and make sense internally. I actually really like how it comes together, and I think it's very well written in the direction that he wanted to take it.
Didn't you give the Goonies? Didn't you give the Goonies a 7 out of 10?
Well, for objective quality, yeah, but for enjoyment, I give that like a 9.5.
No, it's a 9. Period, Jed.
The plot isn't that sound.
I'm just fucking with you. I was at Walmart with Krista. I was like, I want to watch the Goonies. She goes, Jed gave it a 7. I was like, what?
I adore the movie. I just think the plot isn't super sound. So I like to separate enjoyment rating versus what I think is more accurate rating.
You know what? You're my Nolan bro, so that's all that matters. You're my Nolan bro. So 199 out of 10 for Goonies, says Press Tile. So all right, thanks, Jed.
Yep.
All right, let's go.
I think we're all caught up.
Are we caught up? All right. Well, I've got
one more. Ryan Tyler VO for 199. Remember PS1 demo discs in Pizza Hut pizzas?
Yes, I do. I don't know if were they in Pizza Hut. I just remember the demo discs. I don't know if I got them for Pizza Hut. I don't remember that part.
Pizza Hut.
I don't remember that part.
Pizza Hut was the shit.
Yeah. Let me see. A lot of people are talking about he's got some agreement with his objective take on Goonies. Jeremy's on his 9th period. 9th? I don't know about 9th. EGM demo discs, electronic gaming monthly, baby. There we go. There we go. So now everybody, there's a bunch of people in chat yelling at me, telling me Tenet's good. What happened to me being just a Nolan simp? I thought I was just a Nolan simp. Like, oh, you're a Nolan simp. And then I say one Nolan movie's bad. They're like, you're wrong, Jeremy. You're just a hater.
I've never seen it, so I can't.
You haven't seen most Nolan films because you're retarded.
That's I haven't seen Interstellar,
which is
I haven't
crime
seen
against
Tenet.
humanity. Crime against humanity.
I think all the other ones I've seen.
Seen Dunkirk?
I think so. Yeah, I think I watched it on streaming actually.
You think so?
I didn't go to the theater, but I saw it on streaming.
So? Have you seen The Prestige?
Yeah, that's an old one.
It's a great one. It's Mahler's favorite movie of all time. Do you know that?
That's kind of wild.
Yeah, Prestige is Mahler's favorite movie. It's wild. You need to watch Interstellar, Ryan. Okay. Greatest movie
I'll watch
ever
it
made.
at some point. I mean, I don't know when, but Matthew
all
McConaughey.
Right. Yeah. Make him stay, Murph. Make him stay, Murph. Don't let me leave, Murph. All right. Anyway, but we gotta call it there. I need to go run to the store, check for just fill up on gas and everything, because it's gonna get crazy around here the next few days. I just want to make sure we're covered on that perspective. Again, in the pinned post, you'll see the link to the Salty Cobra cast happening at 6 o'clock today. Gonna be fun. I want to see the 199 over there rocking and rolling. It's gonna be great. And I appreciate you guys being so supportive. The Robert Barnes episode we had week and a half ago was excellent. So I want to see the same type of turnout over there tonight. So thank you guys so much. Ryan, what do you got going on?
Nothing. Just put out more videos. Miguel Pantojas for 199 blasphemy on the Goonies score.
Blasphemy. There we go. All right, guys. Thank you so much. 199 representing, scanning in. Also, did you guys see the did I show everybody the updated Cobra Cast logo that we're working on? We're still going to make some tweaks to it, but this is the shout out to Donnie Danko. Donnie Danko's doing fantastic work, but there's a updated Cobra Cast right there, looking sexy as hell. Still gonna make some tweaks to it, but that's where we are with it. And then we just got a $10 super chat from Andy from the UK. What's up, Andy? Long time no see. Hey, Jeremy and Ryan, hope you're doing well. Sorry I haven't been around. My mental health, etc. wasn't in a good place. I've been watching from the shadows and supporting your channels. Hey, man. Andy, appreciate you, man. It was great hanging out with you at Star Wars Celebration. And good to see you're back. And I hope you're doing well, brother. So that is good to go.
Hey, good to see you, man. Glad you're doing better.
Yeah, man. Good deal. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Have a great day, and we will talk to you later. See you on Cobra Cast, everybody. Bye.